For decades, it was almost forgotten, hidden away, behind dust, rust, and time, sat a machine that once represented the future of American performance, the 1996 Ford Indigo Concept. When Ford unveiled the Indigo, it wasn't designed to become an ordinary production car. It was a vision, a dramatic open cockpit concept built to show what American performance could look like in the future. But decades passed, the crowds disappeared, the bright auto show lights were replaced by darkness, and eventually the Indigo needed something. No concept car was designed for a restoration. When the doors of the storage facility finally opened, the first sight was almost unbelievable. Dust-covered, the bodywork, the once brilliant surfaces had lost their shine, the tires had aged, the interior showed the unmistakable signs of long-term storage, but beneath all that neglect, the original design was still there. The low nose, the dramatic cockpit, the sculpted body, the unmistakable blue finish, a piece of American automotive history, was waiting to be rediscovered. The restoration team didn't begin by turning a wrench. They began by documenting everything, every panel, every seam, every component, every piece that could reveal how the original concept was assembled. Because restoring a one-off concept car isn't like restoring an ordinary vehicle. Replacement parts may not exist. Factory diagrams can be difficult to locate, and even small mistakes can permanently change the character of the original design. So the team moves slowly. The car is carefully rolled into the restoration workshop. The first stage is cleaning. Years of dust are gently removed. The bodywork begins to reappear underneath the dirt. The Indigo's lines start coming alive again. But the closer they look, the more problems they discover. The paint has deteriorated. Metal components show corrosion. Rubber has hardened. Mechanical systems need inspection, and almost every surface needs attention. The restoration has officially begun. The goal isn't to make a modern replica. It is to bring this forgotten concept as close as possible to its original appearance and character. Piece by piece, the Indigo will have to earn its second life. The discovery was only the beginning. Now, the real restoration begins. The Indigo is covered in decades of accumulated dust. Before polishing, before painting, before mechanical work, every surface must be cleaned. The team starts with the most delicate areas. Air pressure, soft brushes, and specialized cleaning products carefully remove the first layer of contamination. Slowly, the original blue finish begins to return. But cleaning reveals another problem. The paint has suffered from years of neglect. Fine scratches, oxidation, cloudy surfaces, and damaged clear areas interrupt the reflections. The restoration team doesn't immediately repaint the body. First, they determine how much of the original finish can be saved. Paint thickness is measured. Each panel is inspected. The objective is preservation. If original material can be restored, it should be, because this isn't just another car. It's a one-off piece of automotive history. The polishing process begins carefully. A controlled compound removes damaged surface material, then a finer polish brings back the depth of the blue. Under the workshop lights, the transformation becomes obvious. The body starts reflecting the lights again. But the exterior is only half the story. The cockpit needs just as much attention. The Indigo's interior was designed to look futuristic, even by 1996 standards. After decades in storage, the surfaces have accumulated dust. The materials need careful cleaning. Every switch, every trim piece, every surface is inspected. The team removes loose components, one by one. Nothing is forced. Nothing is rushed. A rare concept car can be damaged by a single careless movement. The dashboard is gently cleaned. The instrument area is restored. The steering wheel receives detailed attention. The seats are cleaned and conditioned. Then, the wheels. Decades of storage have left their mark. The wheels are carefully removed. Each one is inspected. The surfaces are cleaned. Small imperfections are corrected. The tires are examined for age-related deterioration. Because a restored concept car must not only look correct, it must also be handled safely inside the workshop. Meanwhile, the mechanical inspection continues. Hoses, connections, fluids, electrical systems, everything is checked. A concept car doesn't always share the straightforward parts availability of a production vehicle. That means the restoration team must understand what is original, what was modified, and what may need special reconstruction. The workshop now looks very different. The dust is disappearing. The blue paint is returning. The interior is becoming recognizable. The wheels look cleaner, but the indigo still isn't finished. The final transformation will require every restored component to come together, and that's where the most difficult stage begins. The indigo finally looks alive, but appearance isn't enough. After decades of sitting still, the mechanical systems must be examined with extreme care. The restoration team moves underneath the car. Every connection, every mount, every component is inspected. Nothing is assumed to be working. The suspension is checked first. Rubber components can deteriorate with age. Seals can harden. Metal parts can develop corrosion. Even a car that has barely moved can require extensive mechanical attention. The brakes are inspected. The lines are checked. The hardware is cleaned and restored where appropriate. Then, the electrical system becomes the focus. A concept car from the 1990s contains wiring that has spent decades without regular use. Connections are carefully inspected. Contacts are cleaned. Damaged sections are repaired only when necessary. The goal is to preserve as much original material as possible. Then, the engine compartment receives attention. The Indigo's powerful V10 architecture was one of the concept's defining features. The engine bay is cleaned and carefully detailed. Every visible component is inspected. The restoration team works methodically. No shortcuts, no unnecessary replacements. The original character must remain. Once the systems have been checked, the team begins reassembly. The restored wheels return to the car. The suspension is carefully positioned. The brakes are reassembled. The cockpit receives its restored components. Dashboard, controls, trim, seats, everything returns to its original position. Then, the body panels are inspected one final time. The blue paint now reflects the workshop lights. The indigo looks almost as if it has traveled backward through time. But one challenge still remains. The car needs to wake up. The electrical system is connected. The battery is installed. The technicians begin checking each system one by one. The instrument cluster comes alive. A few indicators appear. The team pauses. After decades of silence, something is happening. The restoration team moves carefully. They check everything before attempting any further operation. The engine systems are inspected again. Fluids, connections, temperature sensors, and fuel systems are verified. Only when the team is satisfied do they prepare for the final test. The Indigo has gone from a forgotten concept to a functioning piece of automotive history, but the final chapter hasn't arrived yet. The car must leave the workshop. It needs to face natural light, a real road, and perhaps the place where it belongs, an automotive show floor. The team finishes the last details. The final inspection begins. Every panel gap, every wheel, every piece of trim, every interior surface, everything must be right, because soon the doors will open and people will see the Indigo again. After decades, the waiting is finally over. The Ford Indigo is no longer a forgotten machine hidden in storage. The restoration has reached its final stage. Every surface is inspected, every piece is cleaned, every detail is checked. The blue paint now has a deep, brilliant finish. The body reflects the workshop lights like it did when the concept first appeared in the 1990s. The wheels are clean, the cockpit looks futuristic again, and the engine bay has been transformed from years of neglect into a carefully preserved piece of automotive history. But the team isn't finished. The final detailing begins. Tiny imperfections are corrected. Glass surfaces are polished. Trim is carefully cleaned. Every visible surface receives attention, because with a concept car, the smallest detail can change the entire appearance. Then the workshop doors open. Natural sunlight falls across the Indigo's body. For the first time in decades, the car is seen in daylight. The difference is remarkable. The once dusty body now shines. The sculpted lines are clearly visible. The open cockpit looks exactly like a vision from another era. The restoration team slowly moves the car outside. Cameras capture every angle: front, side, rear, cockpit, engine bay, wheel. Every detail tells the same story. A forgotten concept has returned. The Indigo was never meant to become a mass production vehicle. It was designed to demonstrate what Ford could imagine. And now, after decades of silence, that vision can finally be appreciated again. The car is carefully transported to a private automotive display. People begin to gather. Some recognize the shape immediately. Others have never seen anything like it. The Indigo still looks futuristic, even decades later. That may be its greatest achievement. A design created in 1996 still manages to attract attention in a world filled with modern supercars. The restoration team stands nearby, watching as people discover the car again. Every scratch that was removed, every component that was restored, every hour spent documenting the original design has led to this moment. The Indigo is no longer a forgotten artifact. It has become a preserved chapter of American automotive history. And perhaps that's what restoration is really about. Not simply making an old vehicle look new. It's about protecting a story, protecting an idea, protecting a moment. When designers imagined something that didn't yet exist, the 1996 Ford Indigo was one of those ideas. And now it has another chance to be remembered. Under the sunlight, the blue body glows, the cockpit waits, the wheels stand perfectly still, and the crowds look on. After decades, the Indigo is finally back in the spotlight. Not forgotten, not abandoned, reborn.